In my other tutorials on getting started in Premiere Pro, opening the project, and starting to edit, I didn't go over a couple of common problems I see that people run into when they start editing, because I was already running long on those tutorials. So in this one, I'm going to go over some common issues I see with newer editors as they fight with the software. Okay, common things I see: if somebody is dragging down footage and there is no audio, they can't hear the audio on the timeline, a couple things could be happening. So you could be clicking on this drag video only button, and that way you'll see there's no audio down here. So the bottom tracks over here, these bottom little blue boxes, is the audio, the top is the video. These are your tracks. That's what Premiere Pro calls them. So it's an audio track or layer, if you're more familiar with Photoshop or something like that. And this is your video tracks. And so this clip does not have audio. You can't hear anything. If we can't see any sound bouncing in the sound bar on the right. So let's delete this, because you always want to bring your NAT sound down with you on the footage. So make sure you're clicking on the actual clip itself. Same thing could be happening. You could be clicking on drag audio only, and then it just brings audio down. Other things that can sometimes happen is you've deactivated these little blue boxes here. So if you're dragging down from the clip, it's only going to drag down the video. So if I reactivate these little blue boxes, it will drag down my audio as well. So for whatever reason, that just allows you to drag both of them down. If these blue boxes are not activated, they won't allow you to drag it down. Now, there are technical reasons for why you need to have these selected and which blue box to do in the default layer. Again, these are intro videos. We're not trying to get into the depths of the software creators' heads. I'm going to just teach you how to make it work. Okay. Other things that could be happening is that your playback is really slow and it's glitchy, so you can always drop your playback resolution. So this drops it to a half or a quarter under this little drop down over here. And that way it should play through this faster. Now, your video is not going to export at that quality. This is just while you're editing to help it render a little faster. Other little things that I see people run into that I kind of went into over in my last tutorial is people selecting the wrong tool. So being like, oh, I can't move my clip, what's happening? And really you're selected on the pen tool or something else. So just make sure you're on that arrow tool to help move things around there. Other issues that may be happening is that your clips are leaving little gaps. So this magnet tool might be off, or they're not kind of sucking together, for lack of a better term. I guess they're magneting together. So when you drag it really close here, you may leave a little gap. And so now when we're watching the video, oops, wrong keyboard shortcut, and I'm hitting my space bar. There's a little black flash there. As a newer video editor, you may not notice this, but your audience or your instructors, viewers may. Maybe you do notice this. It's something that your eye will become used to. You want to avoid these little black flashes here. They're an editing mistake unless you're doing them for a strategy in your story. And a great way to do that is to use this little magnet tool. It's a snapping tool. Keyboard shortcut in my settings is N, so when I hit my spacebar, I accidentally turn this off sometimes. But leaving it on, as you can see, as I drag this clip closer to the clip next to it, I'm gonna sucks next to it so that I avoid those black spaces. As you're editing, you may want to turn this on and off, because sometimes you want to have a really precise edit and then the snap tool gets annoying. Or most times you want to leave it on just so that it makes sure you don't have any gaps in the footage there. You could also click this link selection tool by accident, or this option, and that will allow you to only move the video or the audio, which can be helpful at times, but most times you're going to want to have this selected. So if that's happening, it could be that option. Or you may have also accidentally locked a layer, and then you are only moving the top or the bottom piece. As a newer to Premiere Pro person, These features may seem really annoying, but as you become more proficient with editing, you'll see how they can really, really help your workflow and make some things easier. There's a method to the madness of most of the things that the software creators did in Premiere Pro. So these are just some of the common errors that I see or problems that people encounter. Also just accidentally closing windows and thinking things are gone. Like if you've accidentally closed a timeline or a sequence here, it's gonna be with your footage. This little icon here means sequence, and if you hover over it, it'll say sequence. These icons mean video. If it's blue, it means you used it in your timeline. If it has audio, it has this little audio icon, it means it has audio. But these little stacked ones are your sequences, so you can just double click on those to reopen that if you accidentally close it. And any other window you accidentally close, again, you can find over here. Remembering the names of this being the timeline window. This is program, source, and project. Those are the main ones you'll need as you get started. So if those go missing, those are good names to memorize so you know which one to click on here. Okay, that goes over my short recap of common problems I've seen in Premiere Pro. If you are running into some other problems and you're in my class, feel free to pop me an email after giving a good Google search. Remember, we are video editors. We are learning to solve some of our own problems because, hey, even the pros Google stuff all the time and you're going to run into problems. It's kind of a finicky software. But if you can't figure it out after a couple minutes of trying to figure it out, pop me an email. If you are not in my class, you should be, because it's fun. Ask my students. But feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help any video editors that reach out to me with any problems they encounter. Happy editing!